I got him on my lap.
Oh, okay.
He's sleeping with me.
Are we gonna take this together?
I was thinking we drink half of it.
Should we do it on camera?
Yeah, sure. Cheers, guys.
All right. Cheers.
Don't be afraid to have one drink. It's not going to ruin your life. You did not take that whole thing. You're disgusting. Oh, my God.
Yo. When I drink, I have this like problem when I drink.
What's the problem?
I just start singing like Justin Bieber.
I started singing Katy Perry,
Which song?
California Girls.
I was about to say Teenage Dream.
Yeah, that's about the same type of thing.
It's a classic.
Yeah.
Anyway, guys.
Pre-pod banter.
Welcome back to the No Victim Podcast, episode 15. I am not with my usual co-host, Pablo Farnan, but it's okay. And as usual, Pablo, if you're watching this, fuck you. No, I'm just kidding. He loves when I do that. Anyway, so this is episode 15. I got a special guest. We actually got two special guests today. We got my dog, Charlie, who's like doing some weird dinosaur shape. And we got my boy, Raphael, who's not only tattoo artist, owns multiple tattoo shops. You guys have probably seen this guy more than you've seen me. And I like to put this dude in my reels because they always go viral when he's in there. Nah.
Shit, social proof, baby.
But anyway, without further ado, Raphael Tats.
Thank you for having me, brother. Thank you for having me, bro. It's a pleasure. I think that our podcasts are always I think all of our conversations are extremely productive and good. So
yeah, man.
I think it's about time we hopped on another pod.
And I think even since the first pod that we ran, there's been so much that's happened.
Mm-hmm.
Our relationship has developed a little bit more.
Yeah.
And like from then to now, so much has happened. It's insane.
It has been a lot.
But so I'm curious because I feel like a lot, because you have bits and pieces of it on your social media, but I kind of want you to give people like the background on your story a little bit, because I've seen you post stuff about how like you were cutting grass and then like you were like drawing and trying to figure it out, and then you saw like a TikTok one day and someone was a tattoo artist. You're like, I can do that. I know you had a mentor. So kind of give people like the cliff notes of like what led you to like owning multiple tattoo shops.
So I grew up in Miami, single mom, similar story to you, and your experiences as growing up. And I was an angry kid, you know what I'm saying? I was like angry as fuck, and I really like could not do school.
Yeah.
School it just was the least important thing to me, and I hated the feeling of like, oh, this is like, I gotta like be told to do this, etc. So got kicked out of school, moved up to Massachusetts because I was living in Miami with my mom and kept getting in a bunch of trouble. So my mom sent me to live with my dad. And my dad was like very chill, but like lived in a small town in Massachusetts. Like there's no trouble to get into really, So it was a good move for me. At the time I hated my life, but now that I look back, it was tremendous for me.
Why was it a good move?
Just, I didn't have my dad in my life. You know, like I was a kid who grew up with his mom, and like, you know what I'm saying? And like,
I know how that goes.
Yeah, my dad it's weird. I tell people all the time, me and my dad's relationship is like a brother. I feel like he doesn't really treat me like he's my dad, Plus, like,
your dad's cool. I met your dad.
Yeah,
we worked out one time.
He didn't raise me, you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
like, we have like a mutual understanding. It was like he always like respected me, and he's very loving. But you know what I'm saying? I never saw him a lot.
I think it's really cool that we were at the gym with him the other night.
Yeah, we were at the gym with him. He comes down now all the time. So yeah, me and my pops, bro. I moved up there, was living in Mass, and he's cool as fuck. You know what I'm saying? He's cool as fuck. I didn't really have a great relationship with him through my childhood, so it was great to be with him and spend a bunch of time with him.
Yeah.
And during that time, I was like, okay, I already had an entrepreneur mindset. I got kicked out of school for selling drugs.
Yeah.
So I was like, I need to make money.
Were you making good money when you were selling drugs? What, weed or?
No, selling like, I got caught with like 16 tabs of acid. Like I was selling like anything I get my hands on. You know what I'm saying?
Who caught you?
The fucking cops caught me. No. I sold this girl acid, and she fucking tripped the fuck out and told everyone that I gave it to her. And then they called me into the office, and then basically like they could have fucking sent me to fucking like a secondary school. But luckily they were just like, we're just going to disenroll you from the school. We're not going to call the cops. We're just going to take you out of school. You're expelled right now and never come back. And I was like, and then my mom walks in and she's like, he didn't do it. And I'm like, mom, I did it. Let's cut our losses. Let's get out. Let's get out of here.
Shout out to Nancy. Nancy's my real estate agent. She's she reminds me a lot of my mom, actually.
Yeah.
I always tell my mom that I feel like she would get along really well with your mom, but that's funny because that sounds like your mom.
Yeah. She's like, he didn't do it. Like, look through his bag. And I'm like, mom, let's leave.
Please don't look through my bag.
Let's go home, please.
I love it, dude.
She's like,
That's
what do you
amazing.
mean? Anyways, yeah, I go out there, always infatuated with art, right? Through middle school drawing, etc. And I quickly got a job in the summer in Massachusetts landscaping. So I worked landscaping. I did 12 hours a day, 7 days a week. I worked for $12 an hour. I remember I was sitting there, and all the older kids I was hanging out with at the time, they're like 18, 17. They all worked landscaping, and all the kids my age were playing like summer AAU basketball, you know? And I was like, fuck that shit. I want to make money. So I called 40 landscaping places in one day, and one of them said, come tomorrow, and I showed up, and I got a job there. And my dad to this day is like, dude, you called like 60 landscaping places 5 minutes after you told me you were going to get a landscaping job.
So that's huge, bro, because I actually want to touch on that just real quick, because a lot of people won't do that, right? Like the whole, like, if you haven't like scrolled on Indeed and like, you know, applied to like 50, 30, right? 50 jobs in a day, then you don't really know, like you don't really want it bad enough. So what was your mentality like when you're like, oh, I'm going to get this job. Like I want to make money.
Basically, none of the companies wanted to hire a 15-year-old kid.
Oh, you were 15.
I didn't have a license.
Yeah.
Right? I was 15 years old. I was younger than all the other kids that were working landscaping.
Okay, young.
All these other kids were 17, 18. They could drive, etc. And I got hired by the one company that every single one of their employees was illegal. So he didn't give a fuck if you had a license or not. You could drive the F-250. Yeah. Because he, you know what I'm saying? Like,
did you?
Oh, yeah. I was backing up trailers 15 years old, no insurance, fucking no driver's license.
Yeah, that's sick.
Like,
I've worked with for so many places like that. No insurance. Like, no, everything's just off the books, sketchy as fuck. Bro,
worked my ass off. Like, all summer. I mean, I think I've showed you pictures. Like, that, I was in the most tremendous shape in my life. Like, 8-pack literally, and like was hitting the gym all the time.
You were like tan and ripped.
Yeah, I was playing football too in school in the season, so I was like already eating a bunch and shit. Like, it was a great time of my life. Not gonna lie, I had a lot of fun. I worked super hard. I worked 7 days a week. Hang out after work with my buddies, drink beer, little fucking shooters of Fireball. Go back to work the next day. Times were simple. Times were good. After the summer, I saved all my money. I bought a dirt bike for $1,600. I sold it 3 months later for $2,400. I bought another dirt bike. I sold it for $1,200. I bought it for $1,200. I sold it for $1,800. I had a good amount of money saved up. I bought another bike. I flipped that one. And then I just started flipping bikes through high school. So I made, by the end of high school, I had 15 grand in my savings just because I had flipped dirt bikes.
This is so sick.
I was always into like, and then I'd work all summer. And then in winter, I'd plow. I'd just be shoveling and plowing. So I just always working.
Yeah.
Like I've always been a worker, you know? In school, I would go to school, and I'm not gonna lie, I'd just be like high as shit in school, taking Xanax, smoking weed, playing sports. Don't know how all that goes together, but at the time it did. You know,
it's more common than you'd think.
Yeah. And I was tattooing through that whole time. Every kid that I met in my landscaping job, every kid I met who was fucking wanted to get a tattoo, heard I did tattoos.
Where did you get a tattoo gun?
I bought it at a fucking, we were at a bonfire. And this kid next to me had all these shitty hand tattoos. He's way older than me. His name, to this day, his name's Alex Golash. I talk to him all the time to this day. He was like 10 years older than me. I'm at a bonfire with a bunch of kids. I would hang out with older kids. And then fucking the kid had tattoos, and they were fucking blown out to shit. They just look like black blobs on his hand. I was like, who did those? And he's like, me. And I was like, you got a tattoo machine? He's like, in my truck. I said, I got $80 in my pocket. I'll buy it from you right now.
Damn.
And he's like, okay. The kit probably cost $100. I bought the kit all fucked up, half used, fucking, and I bought it for $80. I went home, plugged it in. That night, I tattooed this cross on my forearm.
Oh,
at
shit.
15 years old.
Damn, that's pretty good, man.
No, it was fucked. It was gone after a month. I scarred myself up, went too deep. Another guy went and fixed it. He did all this stuff around it and fixed it.
Yeah.
And I was 15 years old, and I was like, it was winter. So I was like, my dad's not going to see. I got fucking like, my dad doesn't give a fuck. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, my mom, she'd be on me like a hawk.
Yeah.
But my dad was like, he's cool.
Yeah.
So fucking fast forward, bro. I tattooed every kid I get my fucking hands on. It was a coils loud as fuck. I went home, plugged it in, started it. My dad's like, "What's that?" I'm like, "Nothing." He leaves to dinner. Bam, start tattooing myself immediately, right on the arm. And then tattooed a bunch of kids, bro. Tattooed a bunch of kids in my neighborhood. Yeah, I was charging for the first tattoo. Even when I was horrible, I was charging. And it really wasn't nothing more than that, dude. I just never stopped. I went to college because I wanted to go back to Florida, moved down. My brother went to Tallahassee. He lived in Tallahassee, went to Florida State. I got into Tallahassee Community College because my grades were shit. And 3 weeks into community college, I dropped out, was tattooing the whole time, getting drunk, working at a bar. And then I got in a lot of trouble. It was COVID. I was on Xanax. I was drunk. I was at a bar. There wasn't any bars open. So there's like a couple bars that all the kids were going to.
Yeah.
And may God rest his soul. My friend was with me, Juan. He passed away. And we were out there drinking. We were fucked up, dude. And we were sloshed, bro. It was like 6 p.m, like still daylight out. And we were just drunk out of our minds on Xanax. We were fucked up. And this frat kid, like bumped into me in the bathroom, saw my friend doing cocaine and like tried to grab the cocaine out of his hand. And then like we get in each other's face, me and the kid's like way taller than me. And I just hit him twice. Boom, boom. I hit him super hard. And he fell, hit his head right on the fucking wall, out cold, like just face down, out cold. And I ran out, we left. And then my buddy who works at the bar was like, calls me. He's like, "Cops came here. They're looking for you. They want to fucking arrest you, blah, blah, blah." And then call my lawyer. My lawyer's like, "Leave." So I left town, never went back, moved to Miami, prayed to God, told him I'd never get drunk like that again. I'd never do something to hurt someone like that again. And I fucking started tattooing. I did the same shit I did when I was 15 years old. I called 100 tattoo shops around my mom's house, got a job at one, got an Airbnb that I rented month to month. Didn't want to make my mom's life hard or live on our couch. I just forced myself into an Airbnb that I found on Facebook Marketplace because no apartments would accept me. And then I made barely enough to cover my rent and just lived like that for a while and then just worked in a tattoo shop. And it was history from there. Tattooing.
So
allegedly.
That's crazy. So I didn't know. I actually didn't know that you would draw. I didn't know that you were drawing and stuff before that.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
Herman knows.
Oh really?
Yeah, Herman. Since he see me draw since day, I was always drawing. I had him. I was drawing so much on my shit that he started going home and drawing on his shit. Bro.
Damn. Wow, that's really cool, man.
I would draw with my cousins, and my cousin would start crying because mine looked so good. Wow. His didn't look good. And he would just start crying.
I used to really, that's funny that you say that because I used to be huge into drawing and painting before like I found like the gym and skateboarding and all that. But you guys did skate too.
Yeah, we
skateboarded.
We always skated. I never rode a bike. I never had a bike in my life. I skated. All I did was skate, and we would skate together nonstop.
Did you guys like follow any like professional skateboarders, and you were like into it like that?
Oh yeah, like P-Rod. Like I loved fucking P-Rod. I loved fucking Lizard King. All my decks were fucking Death Wish. Like I loved Death Wish. Like I like that like hardcore. Like they were all like. You could tell they were all like on drugs and partying. I loved that shit. Like
there was the one cat. His name was like Colin something. He was I remember he was like he had like more of like an emo goth look to him.
I don't know.
He was a Death Wish guy or something. Yeah, I don't know. Either way,
he was an older dude.
Yeah.
Yes, I know exactly who you're talking about. He was nasty.
Back in the day, he would wear like black skinny jeans and shit.
They all wore black skinny jeans. But yeah, I get.
I need to get myself a pair, bro. Diego was talking shit on my jeans, bro. He was saying my jeans are too tight.
Diego can suck
a
dick, bro.
Whatever.
Diego's still a little fish. He needs to boss up.
Yeah. Yeah. No, he needs to tattoo me right here. This spot.
I'll literally do it before you leave today.
Should we hit it?
I'll do it before you leave today.
What should we hit it with?
I'll put something in there.
We'll figure something out, right?
I'll do it before you leave. That shit bothers me every time I watch your videos. Every time I watch your video, that's a little open gap right there. I'm like, what a fucking weird spot.
We can smack it.
How did you not do that when you did those stars? Like, it would have killed me.
I know. Because we didn't want to do stars.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out.
Well, the dots and shit, yeah.
Either way. So something that that is, I'm curious what your thought is on this, right? Because a lot of people now, and you know, there's lower barrier to entry to start like a business and stuff like that. And with you looking the way you do, like obviously you're a tattoo artist, like you it wouldn't be like a crazy to say, like if someone's like, oh, you're a tattoo artist, right? You have tattoos. But like, where do you think, or why do you think it's important? Because, you know, a lot of people will, you know, they say follow your passion or do the business that works. Like, what is your opinion on that, right? Because you, like, your job is I feel like it's very expressive of who you are, right? Whereas some people have a job that doesn't really align, or a business that doesn't even really align with them, but they're just like doing it because it, like, maybe they're good at it still. Mm-hmm. I'm curious what your opinion is on that, because, and also this as well, like, there's more of people coming, you know, into the scene now that kind of like have tattoos and are a little bit more like, look a little bit more like alternative, I guess you could say. What's your opinion on that? Like, what's your opinion on people that don't look like business owners but still want to be business owners? And what's your opinion on like the image and everything like that when it comes to like entrepreneurship?
So I'll say first off with the tattooing thing and like not being like a traditional route, I feel like that people would take in terms of like when I was looking to really dedicate myself to a career. That's the crazy part. I chose tattooing in my mind thinking I was settling.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Like I started tattooing and I was like, I guess I'll just become a tattoo artist. The average tattoo artist on Google says it makes $50K a year. Like in my head, that's what I was telling myself the entire time. Yeah. I never once thought it could be anything crazier than that. And I genuinely chose tattooing because I truly loved it. And I literally was like, I went to community college. I dropped out. Everyone was right. Everyone was right. You know what I'm saying? And now I'm becoming a tattoo artist. I'm probably not going to make that much money. I was like, but at least I'll be able to do art.
Okay, so there's a lot of tattoo art. I mean, I've gotten tattooed by a lot of different people, right? And there's a lot of tattoo artists that are very not financially well off. It's like so common for tattoo artists to be broke, right? And it definitely starts to bleed out, and it definitely starts to reveal itself in their personality, because you can kind of tell like it's almost like it's not worth it for them, right? So I'm curious, like, because it's so rare for like a tattoo artist to, and apparently, maybe correct me if I'm wrong, but is opening a tattoo shop and is it like profitable? Is it like, no?
Not a very lucrative business model.
Yeah.
Any tattoo artist that is good, that would want to work for you, they're going to want to pay a booth rent. So you're not going to make, if they're booked out, if they have their own clients, they're going to want to pay a booth rent. If you don't give them a good booth rent, they can just go get a private studio. They already have their own clients. So virtually, it's not like it used to be. You know, I heard because I was, contrary to most people believe, most tattoo artists that see me think I'm just like one of these new guys that like never was around the OG tattooers and this and that, doesn't respect them, shit like that. But I actually was taught by an OG tattooer. You know what I'm saying? Like my old boss has been tattooing since the since literally when I was born. You know what I'm saying? 2001. In Miami, you know what I'm saying, would tell me stories about OG tattooers that literally owned the only shops back then and would have millions of dollars stashed away from tattoos, you know, like he owned 2 tattoo shops in Fort Lauderdale, you know what I'm saying? Like I was taught by OG in the game, and like the thing with that type of stuff is, bro, is like he really like told me really about what was possible through it, right? Like I didn't know that what I could apply through me being like a hustler, et cetera, would be able to apply through that type of medium. You know what I'm saying? Because of how overrun the industry is with like mediocre artists, right? And I mean this in like, I don't mean any disrespect by this, but like there's a lot of mediocre artists in the industry. I mean like they're always slacking in one category or the other. What I mean by mediocre, like maybe they're very talented or maybe they're very passionate. They're always slacking in one category or the other.
Yeah.
You know? And I really think that right now too, it was like a weird time for me to get in. I was so young.
Yeah.
And social media was such a new thing taking over.
Yeah.
And I understood it. I played video games. I was a computer nerd. I was always really smart. Like, I understood the thought process of, like, if I get big online, I can do well with this.
Yeah. So
when I first made my first TikTok video, I was selling custom shoes. I was living in that one-bedroom Airbnb on the side of someone's house. I had $1,400 to my name, and my rent was $1,400 that month. I paid my rent. And I was like, holy shit, it's COVID and nobody has walked into the tattoo shop. And then 3 weeks into the month, and I had to pay another $1,400. I posted a bunch of videos on TikTok, and I sold fucking my custom shoes that took me 9 hours to do for $150. And the shoe itself costed $80. So I was only making like $70 profit after shipping them out. And I was just busting those out through TikTok like crazy.
Damn.
And I really realized, I was like, bro, I'm getting 3,000 views on this video, and I just sold 3 pairs of shoes. I just sold $600 worth of shoes.
That's crazy.
And I was like, holy shit. Like, I don't even have.
Were you painting them or?
I was drawing them by hand with a ballpoint pen. Like, I was in prison. Like, ballpoint pen on white Converse to barely pay my $1,400 a month rent.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a pretty creative idea though.
I was just, in my head, I was like, no way someone's going to travel to get tattooed by me. They don't even know me. Even if I get views on this video, who the fuck's going to come get tattooed by me? So in my head, I knew, I was like, tattooing, getting clients from this shit is a long game. I got to keep posting for a long time.
Yeah.
I was like, but the shoes, I could ship out tomorrow to their house.
How long have you been posting on social media?
5 years. Every day.
5 years of posting every day.
Wasn't until 3 years in I even fucking really saw fucking much from that shit. But
yeah, I remember when I first saw some of your videos, and it was like, it's like videos of you smoking weed in front of your garage with like 2-3 cars, a motorcycle in the driveway. And I remember when we kind of like, it's either I commented on one of your things, you commented on one of mine, and it was like, oh, I see what you're doing. Like, that's, you know what I mean? And you said the same thing to me, and it was kind of like that mutual respect, which was really cool. And I remember there was a couple of videos, because you actually said this on the last podcast, and this is kind of how I've learned your personality, right? Like, you're very much the type of person to, like, you said yourself, you're a fuck you motherfucker. Like, you want to stick it to people. So I'm curious, because I remember there was this one video. I literally even remember like where I was, because it pumped me up. Because for one of the first times I felt like
the face tat one,
the
burn the boats one, or what?
It was no. It was the one where you were like talking shit to other tattoo artists.
Yeah.
You basically said in the video, essentially, you were like, fuck the tattoo industry, right?
Yeah.
Because like the old heads are mad because guys are making bread and they're blowing up on social media, and like they're not willing to, like, you know, make the content and all that. But when I saw that, I was like, yeah, this dude, like, I related to it, because it made me feel how I felt so many times, where it was like, no one's really doing that anymore, right? Like, it's like people are too worried about placating, and I've never ever seen that from you ever one time, right? Like, you're always who you are in person, online, you're the same person, and also you don't placate to people so that they like you. And I'm the same exact way. I talk about my buddy, one of my homies back home, Nick. Like, part of the reason why he's such a good friend of mine is because, like, he's the type of friend that, like, if my name comes up in person, he's there, it's like his ears perk up and he's like ready, right? Like, it's like, you talk shit on my boy, and it's like, this is not this isn't happening, right? And a lot of people are afraid to do that, right? A lot of people are afraid to be like, yo, that's my homie, or they want to placate because they want people to like them. And like, we know most people are not going to like you anyway, no matter what you do. What's your opinion on that? Because like, where the fuck does that come from? Like, where does that inner drive and that kind of like that you want to stick it to people and fucking show them like what you're capable of?
I feel like, and this is like gonna sound crazy for me to say, because I feel like people don't expect this from me, but like in high school, etc., stuff like times like that, like I was not the cool kid. I didn't get like, these kids would all throw parties and like shit like that, and like I literally wouldn't get invited.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And like,
yeah,
I'd be like, fuck, like this sucks. I hated it.
Yeah.
Like, I genuinely went through like times in my life where I was like super, like I felt like the only kids that wanted to be my friends were like the losers.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I really was like, damn, like I'm a loser.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm not on the varsity team. I'm not fucking the cool kid. Like, like fucking, I'm 16 and my mom and dad can't buy me a car. Neither of them have money. Like, I was like, I'm just never gonna be like. And then my buddy would be like, his dad owned a crazy company, and they like his dad owned a construction company. He'd be like, dude, I have like 15 grand in my bank account at like 15 years old, and I was like mind blown. I was like, I'm never gonna be that. Like, I was like, this is never gonna be me, like ever. I was like, they're so lucky, you know, like fuck, like that's crazy. And then like, so then when I started to achieve stuff, Because of just pure hard work, because it's just pure like determination. Just because like the same exact principle I used to call 60 landscaping places, like when I was literally like 15 years old, the same application I used to fucking call the 30 tattoo shops and get a job the next day. You know what I'm saying? Like the same dedication I use for anything I've done. It's the same. I just took action. Like whenever I said I was gonna take action, I just took it. So that same application did really well for me, changed my life. And then people just try to discredit it. So that's where the whole fuck you thing came from. I was like everybody counted me out. You know what I'm saying? Like I felt like nobody really like thought I would achieve anything. Yeah. And then when I did, it was like every reason to fucking basically like discredit me for that. You know? Yeah. So then in me, it literally just bred like fuck you everybody. No matter what. Like fuck you guys all. Happy. Like you guys are all fucking fuck yous. Like pieces of shits. Like, the only thing I want to do is rub my fucking balls in your face. Yeah. Because whether I did it or I didn't do it, you guys still would have fucking never fucking took a second look at me. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. So that's how it just made me like, it made me, 90% of the emotions I feel are just anger. And I was just an angry kid. Like, I was just angry all the time. Like, furious. Like, I can't even explain it any other way than I was like, would wake up with like balls of rage inside of me, like punching walls, just like so angry at life. I 100% was an angry ass kid, like always. Yeah. Just angry as fuck.
Yeah, I can relate to that 100%. Why do you think that is? Why are you angry all the time? Because you just were broke and you couldn't figure out, no one took you seriously. And
I was sad, dude. Yeah. I was sad. I was like, bro, my mom was like so stressed out my whole childhood. Yeah. So stressed out. Nothing ever went right for our family. Yeah. My dad had another family. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, look on Facebook, my little brother got 30 presents under the tree for Christmas, lives in Massachusetts. And I live with my mom in like some small fucking townhouse with my brother and sister, and we got like a fucking couple presents under the tree and like a gift card. Yeah. And I was like feeling literally like shit. My whole childhood was shit. Yeah. I mean, just honestly, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't look back on my childhood and have good memories. I really don't. People tell me all the time, I wish I was a kid again. I wish it was like, shit was so simple when we were kids. And I literally would look at them in the face and be like, I never want to be a kid again, ever. I had no control over my situation. I didn't understand why things were happening the way they were happening. Like, I was thrown in the middle of my mom and dad's fighting constantly. Like, they never talked to each other. It was all through me. You know what I'm saying? And then, like, the anger, like, my mom was angry. My whole childhood. Yeah. So it was like, I was angry, you know, like, life was just kind of like bad. So I feel like now it's like, okay, that's why it established me like that. But it gave me a fuel that I don't think you could ever find that fuel somewhere else. You know what I'm saying? And even the people that have accomplished great things, like we've talked about, I can't put myself in like, I can't.
We talked about this before.
Yeah, I can't compare myself, you know, like.
Yeah, me and Raph talked the other night. And we talk on the phone a pretty decent amount when I pick up, but I'm more of a texter. Raph knows that. Yeah. But Raph is more of he likes to call, he likes to dial. But we were talking the other night, and I remember you saying like, it was like this realization, not real. It was more of a realization for me, right? Because I'm someone that I've always been infatuated with people that had money. Like I've always been infatuated with it. Like my father was very like, he would kind of like talk me out of things, I felt like, and he would make, I would adopt a lot of his viewpoints and thought processes. And because of the way that my dad was about like business ownership and entrepreneurship, it was kind of like, well, that's only reserved for people that are like born into money, and like it's a headache, and like real estate's a headache, like all these business, like don't do this, right? And my dad was in the Marine Corps, right? And then he went on to be very academically successful, but there was always a piece of me where I'm like, well,
he's opinionated.
Yeah, and I would always think where it's one of the most amazing things about, being a young, a kid, teen, whatever it is, where like you still have that essence of like blissful ignorance, where it was like, well, I know like all these things seem crazy. I'm like, and I know we're not like entrepreneurs, like my dad, was trying to get me into Penn State to be on the powerlifting team, so I was like having to like talk him and be like, well, I used to, because the original plan was to go on tour with my band, right? Go on tour with the band, and you make fucking $32K a year and whatever, right? Yeah, fuck bitches, you know, get drunk, smoke weed, just play shows every night.
It sounds great.
Yeah, and that was the plan. But then I realized, and then I found bodybuilding, and bodybuilding taught me a lot about business eventually. But the thing that I think is kind of crazy is like, entrepreneurship is like one of the hardest things to do. And so like, I believe that you have to be like a certain type of individual to like be an entrepreneur. And I mean, even off the statistics, there's like a small percentage of businesses that last beyond 5 years. You know, so if like you are a business that's have a thriving business for 5 years plus, you're like in the top percent.
Yeah.
But my question is this, is like, when you don't, like, how the fuck, because this is really where a lot of people are probably stuck, like, watching this. It doesn't matter what age they are. Because, like, when you're younger, you say, well, I don't have the knowledge and I'm broke and, like, it's scary and blah, 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 right? And then you have the older guys that they have a house, they have kids, right? They have a wife. So it's like they can't really leverage themselves as easier, but also these guys don't have the money. So in my opinion, I think it's like one of the most difficult things to do, but I'm curious, like, why did you choose to be an entrepreneur? Like, because you can make money doing other things, right? Like, you could fucking sell something for someone, right? Yeah. But another thing too, and I want you to touch on this as well too, because you have multiple teams in different arenas now. You got the tattoo shop, and then you got the coaching offer, right? And you got some guys helping you there. What made you want to say, okay, because what made you what you are is like that hustle mentality, but now it's almost like you have to manage people, right? You have to kind of step out of the hustler role and into the CEO role, which is like one of the hardest things to do, right? Because you fucking run up 50K a month, 60K, whatever, and you're like, oh, well, I need to leverage this, right? And you almost need to step back to be a leader. So like, why? I'm just curious, like what? And then another thing too, I'm not going to pile 900 questions at once, but there's another thing too, where it's like it's almost like a philanthropic endeavor, where it's like everyone, for those of you that don't know, Raphael's shop, most of the people that are here are like people that Raph has known since like childhood, like people that work here, like Herman, you know, best friends, right? And there's what's his name? Diego. What's the cat that drove me to
Gianni?
Yeah.
We've been friends
So
for
all
years.
these guys, right? Like, when I say that philanthropic endeavor, because it's like, these are your friends, right? This is like your family. And now like you're providing incomes for them and all that. So like, what makes a man decide to say, oh, well, I'm going to be that for other people?
I think that, and this is really where my mind first goes to when you ask me these questions, is the same way I say like my mother was a certain way in my childhood. I think that I credit her also to these positive aspects I have now. Like literally through her, you know, like my mother was my whole childhood, I'll give her this. She was going through it. You know what I'm saying? Single mom, stress.
Hard,
It was tough. You know, and even my mom tells me now, she goes, look how stressed you are and how much money you have. She goes, imagine if you had nothing and you had 3 little kids in front of you. She's like, imagine how you'd act then. And I couldn't even imagine, you know? So when my whole childhood, above all the, you know what I'm saying, stuff we were going through or whatever, she always told me one thing. She'd always say, the real people that make the money are the people who own their own business. She'd always tell me that. Yeah. My mom would always tell me that I need to start my own business. Yeah. And my brother would make fun of me because he was going to state school, and he'd be like, you're going to go to fucking community college. He'd always make fun of me. Yeah. And shout out my brother. It was no hate. I love him. It was all like, I enjoy that fun banter he would throw at me.
Because he's a business owner too.
Yeah, my brother's a business owner. And my mom like bred us to be business owners. Like would literally tell us, like, it doesn't matter if you go to college, whatever. She wanted us to go to college, wanted us to go to school, but she was like, you need to start your own business to make the real money. She would always tell us that.
Why do you think she said that? What would
my grandfather? Well, my mom's from Peru, and my grandfather basically ran a mine in Peru because gold is the main export in Peru. So my grandfather would be away for 6 months at a time working the mines, and then he would come home to his family for like a month and then leave. You know, my grandfather was like always working, you know, and he was a business owner. And down there, it's corrupt. You know, like he'd literally have like terrorists trying to tax him monthly, and like the government wasn't really like equipped for everything that was going on, et cetera. Like it was a third world country. You know what I'm saying? Basically, you know, I don't know if that's considered a third world country. Is South America considered a third world country? But yeah, it wasn't. It was a different life. You know, like my mom had friends that worked honest livings, and if they didn't pay a debt to like these people in this part of town, like they literally been. My mom has friends that were shot in the head in like their phone store in Peru, and they never made like dishonest money in their life. You know what I'm saying? Like my mom comes from that, and I think my mom truly had a passion for business always too, but she just never could pursue that. She's a single mom. She was trying to go to college. She was trying to do all these things and working 2 jobs, you know? So I truly credit that to her because she pushed us always to own our own business, et cetera. And then the only thing that I was infatuated with was money. Yeah. It was what was the most talked about thing in my house as a kid. Was money.
What were some of the phrases and the sayings that your family would have around money?
Eating out. You know what I'm saying? Like we never fucking ate out. You know what I mean? Like I didn't go on the school field trips. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like my friends would go to fucking like go away summer camp, and I could not at all. You know what I'm saying?
My dad would always say money doesn't grow on trees. He would always say that. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I remember there being a lot of fear around money as well, like with my parents, and it would cause a lot of problems. And that was, I remember when I was 17 years old, and I talked about this before, like my childhood was, you know, my dad was in sales, and he had a pretty good, a 6-figure sales job. And up until age like 16, things were kind of okay, right? Like my parents had their issues, whatever, but we weren't like broke. Like we were decently well off. And my dad had a really good sales position. He was killing it. And then the 2008 financial crisis hit, and it like fucked a lot of industries up. And he took that really hard. And unfortunately, it just caused a lot of financial distress for my family. But I remember like seeing my mom cry over money, cry over bills, right? Like I've driven, you know, we've pulled up to the food pantry like many times to get food, right? You know, my mom just being completely just fucking like embarrassed and humiliated to have to use her EBT card at like the grocery store and things like that. So like that, I always think about the way that my mom struggled and how when
you were older too, so you really like understood. It wasn't like you were a kid and you were kind of like oblivious.
It was 100%, and it was tough because I was 17 years old. So it was like my father wanted me to go to Penn State, right? But I was like, I low key, it was like I also didn't really trust him at that time either. Where it was like I don't really want to listen to anything you tell me to do, right? I still ended up going to college for 6 weeks. 6 weeks I dropped out, but what I guess I'm more curious. This is kind of more of a deeper question, but like, because you know, money is one thing, but relationships and family and friendship is, of course, is above that, but most people don't act like it is. And how have you, because, you know, dude, I know you're working a lot. We all are, right? So, like, how do you find, I guess, I hate to even use the word balance, but, like, how do you find that the way to be a hustler, build a company, and also, like, when you have things that you need to get done, how do you do that and also not completely tarnish the relationship? You know what I'm saying? Because you know how it is, like, I mean, I used to make jokes to, I would make jokes to my ex-girlfriend, right? All the time. And I would tell her like, hey, you know, if you want me off my phone at 6 p.m. and like all this shit and you want this, that, and the other, like you might have to pick a different guy, right? And she did now, and she's happier, you know.
Same my ex, literally,
and she's happier,
same exact
you know.
Thing. Yeah,
and like, but even still saying it to her hurt me saying it because I knew it was true. Yeah, because I knew I was like, it's one of those things where I think about this and I kind of think about like my siblings, right? Like my brother's in law enforcement. He's married, has a simple life. My younger sister, she's married. Her husband's also in law enforcement. Simple life, right? Mm-hmm. And it's like, you know, I'm kind of like, I'm getting older now. Many holidays I'm showing up alone, right? Yeah. And it's getting to the point now where it's like a lot of it started to become a little bit of misunderstanding, right? Between like my siblings and my family. And it's like, well, Gabe's not married, right? And Gabe's not, and it was kind of like a misunderstanding of like my life decisions, right? And I always look at it this way. Like we sacrifice so much to be like who we are. And I think that a lot of men that don't realize, and this is one of I used this before. This is one of those. Are you giving me another shot?
You won't?
I guess.
Take it.
Yes, you like take a shot. Quit crying about it.
Nah, go ahead. I'm listening to you. I love this.
But he said this was Andre 3000. He said this in a song. Listen. listen.
Never thought I'd heard you.
I know, but he says this,
Andre
and it makes me always think when he said this. It was, you know that song, The Real Her, that song Drake.
Yeah.
Drake. Okay, so there's this line in it where he goes something about how he's in the club and like he sees the normie guys and like he's like we wish they were us, right? We wish they were them because both of us are colorblind because the grass looks greener, right? So like I just think it's so interesting, right? Because the guys that, hey, yeah, I'm not waking up to like my wife and my kid, right? And like breakfast on the fucking stove or whatever the fuck. But it's like they also will never do and never go to and never experience the things that we experience too.
They don't have the privilege of going to fucking look at 3 p.m. on a Tuesday to go buy a fucking Lamborghini.
Yeah, exactly.
And like, if they want to, they can go fucking to Tulum tomorrow.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, and I think that's the thing is like that, like you have to willingly make that sacrifice. And like it doesn't mean that you can't not get married in the future and have a relationship. But a lot of these things that you don't realize that it requires energy. It requires time, right? So, and a lot of dudes, the biggest mistake, I'm curious what your thought is on this because I'm just very curious what your thought is on this. Like a lot of dudes, they cope with their lack of success with a relationship with a woman.
Oh my God, don't even get me started on that one, dude. I see it all the time. I see it all the time, buddy.
So I'm curious what your opinion is on that.
Some of my most viral videos of me talking in my car were on that exact topic.
About how guys give up on their dreams and get comfortable in a relationship. They settle
for a woman, and it's just like their mother.
Getting
it's like they leave their
7.
mom's house. They leave their mom's house. First thing they do is get a girl.
Yeah.
They replace their mom.
Yeah.
The first thing they do. Right? Rather than being on their own, getting their own apartment, they go in with a girl. It's like the easy move. It's the easy thing to do.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's what a fucking pussy would do, honestly, in my fucking mind. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I'll be honest with you too, like, what you're asking me about friends and work and etc. Like you said, I don't placate for anybody, right? Like, fucking one of my dearest friends might fucking move in with his girlfriend right after living with his mom, and right in front of his face, I'll say exactly what I just said.
Yeah.
Like, that's a pussy ass move.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I will tell that to my best friends.
Yeah.
And I also think it's one of those things too where it's like I had this thought the other day and it was so like popped into my head and it was one of those like aha moments. Like, wow, like that was the answer to what I was thinking. I stress so much about my friends working with me because I want them to be better.
Yeah.
You know, like obviously I don't think that they're gonna have the same work ethic I do.
Yeah.
But I know they can perform at a way higher rate.
Yeah.
You know, like 100%, right? The same way I can perform at a higher rate, the same way we seek mentorship, the same way we seek people around us that are pushing us, etc. I genuinely don't sleep at night worrying about what my friends are accomplishing, especially the ones that work with me on a daily basis.
Yeah.
You know? And then I always tell myself, I'm like, I'm going to have to fire them, right? Like if he doesn't snap out of this, I'm going to have to fire him. But I don't really do it.
Yeah.
And I thought to myself this the other day, I was like, the difference between me and balancing friendship and my business is that they know I will fire them if I have to.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I'm not going to give up on my friends.
Yeah.
Right? Like whether you're not performing well or you are performing well, I'm not going to give up on you. But I'm always going to push you to be the best version of yourself. You know, like the loyalty is worth more than the money.
Yeah.
Right? Because I could have a kid next to me that would make me more money.
Yeah.
But he's not going to be loyal to me like you are. He wouldn't be there on my dying day. You know what I'm saying? Like, etc.
Yeah.
So I think that question was a great question because I think about that all the time. You know, like I know my friend could perform better. I know I could probably fire him and get someone else for the same price that pay monthly to make me more bread, and they'd be more efficient because they'd probably be a little bit more hungry. but the loyalty is something you can't buy. And then also me being mad at them all the time for not performing at a certain level, someday they'll realize it was because I really just cared. You know, like someday they'll realize that. And when I go to sleep at night, I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm fine with that. And whatever they don't do enough of, I'll make up for it. You know, like I hold myself accountable more than anyone. You know, like if you can't do it, I'll do it.
Yeah.
But I'm not, but the loyalty is the most important part to me.
Why is it so important?
You just can't buy it, man.
Yeah.
You
Why
can't buy
why are things that you can't buy important?
I just feel like for me, like my heart is really strong. You know, like I know that this is not, none of this is coming with us.
Yeah.
You know, none of this is coming with us, and people have lives that are just miserable lives. And I'll never live a miserable life.
Yeah.
Whether I have it all or I have a little, etc. I'll never live a miserable life. And obviously I know I'm not gonna fucking be left with nothing. I know I'm a fucking shark in the water. You know what I'm saying? But
we'll get it anyway. We have to. Right?
Yeah, I'll get it. But I do know that I don't want to live with regrets. Like my friends were fucking good friends. Yeah. And I was like so infatuated with money that I took them for granted.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want to be like that. Right. Yeah. And then people can look at that any way they want. Oh, you settled, etc. Blah, blah, blah. Because I have those inner debates with myself as well. You know, like, oh shit, like my business could do this, my business could do that. Maybe I should cut this guy out. Maybe I should cut this guy out. You know what I'm saying? He's not this, he's not that. But then in my head, I'm like, you can always make room for more. You can make room for more. You can still bring someone in that's a hitter, etc. You can build a bigger platform. You could build a bigger platform. You could have more space for more players. But your key players, like they kind of got to stay. You know what I'm saying? Like, I firmly believe that. Yeah. It's the same way with like your chessboard. I'm playing chess here. Yeah. I got star players. They might not move much. Yeah. But they're rocks. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
100%. So you believe in people.
Yeah, I do. 100%.
Yeah. I think that's another thing too, is like there's been so many people that I've come across in life where I see so much potential in them and almost no one else sees potential in them. And I feel like it's the same way for me, right? It's kind of like we passed that down, right? Your mentor who taught you in tattooing, right? I remember you telling me several stories about how, hey, he was telling you, hey, bump the pricing up, right? Like you can charge more. You can make this amount of money. You can make this amount of money in one day tattooing. Now let's shoot for 2, right? Let's shoot for 3, whatever it was, right? And I think it's like what happens is there becomes this almost like downline of where someone who you respect sees something in you, and then that it's like almost like putting gasoline on the fire, right? It's all you needed. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like what I said before, where you can have your parents, grandparents, uncles, a teacher, right, boss say something to you, and it will go right over your head. But then you have someone that you truly want to be like, someone that you truly want to emulate, and they say something to you, and it comes through crystal fucking clear. And it could be almost the same thing that someone else said, but it never leaves you, right? Yeah. And that's why I think it's so important to be authentic, because when you're not authentic, then the truth doesn't come out. Get what I'm saying? But kind of going back to what we were talking about, believing in people, like you have to. I rarely ever count anyone out. And I used to be like, you can kind of like, you think you'll be able to tell if someone's going to be successful or not, but you almost never know because you don't know the conversations that person is having inside of their head. And a lot of people are not really expressive of their thoughts, right? It's kind of like that person that kind of just sits there and just like analyzes the room and learns. Yeah. And you think he's dumb, but he's actually super smart because he's learned everyone's personality. He can communicate effectively with everyone, right? That's another thing too. Like,
I got a question for you.
Yeah. I was gonna ask you about communication, but
let's chop it up. Communication hour. I got a question for you.
Yeah.
This is something that I've experienced lately with multiple people that I've looked up to.
Yeah.
Especially in the position that we're at in business.
Yeah.
I've surpassed my mentors, certain mentors that I've had. Like I've completely surpassed them. Dudes that I like literally thought I'd like dream my whole life to be like, and they like one-on-one mentored me, helped me with everything. I've surpassed them, and I learn from them still every day. You know what I'm saying? I'm curious to hear what your opinion is on that, because people always, in terms of social media, et cetera, look for coaching, et cetera, mentorship. The ones who are looking for mentorship, they feel like just because the numbers on the screen, you can teach them something, right?
I have an opinion about
And they'll be
this.
like, oh, you make less money than me per month, bro. I can never fucking learn something from you. I learn something from people that make way less money than me. I learn stuff from them all day. I want to hear. I feel like you could go crazy on that.
I mean, this is so true. It's so true. Like, I think that one of the biggest mistakes that a man can make is solely like, you know, process or like take what someone is saying as law just because they make money. Where like this person speaks in absolutes and you like agree with them, even just because they make money. Right. And this is such a slippery slope to go down. The reason why you don't understand this is because you haven't made any yet. And because the money is like a monkey on your back. You just want to pay your fucking bills. You're in survival mode. You can't think about anything else. So that's where people get infatuated, right? They see someone with the car, with the lifestyle or their watch or whatever it is. And that's great. And all that stuff is good, but you have to actually look at the person, right? And why do you guys think that you see celebrities, rich people, famous, killing themselves, right? And people that are successful offing themselves? It's because the money isn't everything. It's just a part, right? It's always supplemental. But here's the thing. You're 100% right. Like, I used to think I could only learn stuff from people that were older than me or that made more money than me. But this is so far from the truth. And actually what it is it's looking at the world in a different way. I've made this example before. This is kind of silly. It's like almost like a kid analogy. But if you look at a zebra, right? You see a zebra with black stripes or white stripes. It's the same thing, right? So like when someone is saying something to you, it's about how you decide to view and process in between the lines. Because if someone does not make more money than me, and by the way, guys, guess what? You will learn more because to say that you can only learn from people that are successful than you insinuates that you're learning from, what are you learning from? Because here's what I mean is you will learn more from someone's failures than you will from their success. Yeah. Right. So if someone is telling you something and you're like, hey, now I know what not to do. Guess what? You just saved yourself so much time, so much energy, so much money potentially, that when you open your eyes and open your mind to like, damn, there's a lot of value going around. It's just about how I process it. And another thing too, with coaching, like, go ahead.
I was just going to say real quick, I've learned more from friends of mine that made $2,000 a month. Yeah. Than friends of mine that make $300K a month. Yeah. I shit you not. I have friends that make, I'm not even like exaggerating. I have friends that make upwards of $2 million a month that I've spent substantial amounts of time with. And I've learned more about life, about care, about taking care of your friends, doing what needs to be done from friends of mine that make $2,000 or $3,000 a month. Yeah. I promise. Like in all honesty. Yeah. And I feel like that in itself is like something that is just lost nowadays. Yeah. Especially in the space that we're in with online information and all the money that's going around, et cetera. People think they're on top of the world because they made a little bit of money. Yeah. You know? And I always like to say what my dad says, you're only as good as your last job. He always tells me that. I'll tell him I made this much today. And he's like, well, how much are you going to make tomorrow? You're only as good as your last job. And I was like, damn, that's fucking, it keeps the pressure right there. Yeah. Yeah. But I think that that's I think that is a virtue that's been lost. Because my dad would always tell me, my dad never taught me a lot of lessons. There's a handful of things that he's told me that stuck with me permanently. Yeah. And one of the main things was you can learn something from anybody. Yeah. And I think that people nowadays in the space that we're in and online, et cetera, everything they see all day long, they throw out the people that are right around them. Yeah. They're like, how can I get around higher level people? Yeah. I said, because he makes more money than your other buddy. You want to, like, he's higher level. That guy's a piece of shit. Yeah. That guy's addicted to drugs, cheats on his girlfriend every fucking weekend. Yeah. Like, but he makes $1 million a month. Yeah. So he's higher level. He's the people you want to be around. Yeah. But your buddy works a landscaping job, makes $4,000 a month, takes care of his mom, takes care of his kid, takes care of his wife, shows up every day, would never miss a basketball game. is the most stand-up man you could ever imagine having around you.
Character.
You know, and I'm like, I think that is one of the main things that frustrates me about today's society. You know, especially when I see stuff online, it's like that's what builds like that whole like fuck you mentality too. It adds way onto that. Because I see it, I'm like, you people don't even know what real value was if it hit you in the fucking face.
Yeah.
You have friends right in front of you that are the definition of good people.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And because they don't make a certain amount of money because you've seen all this fucking shit on Instagram, you think that they're worth nothing.
Yeah.
Like that alone shows me more about someone's character than anything.
100%. Yeah, 100%. And I had that realization too, especially coming out to Miami because you meet a bunch of people. You know, you're gonna meet. I met tons of people just going out and last podcast that we were on when I had my homie Joe on, he said the same thing. He was like, dude, he's like, it's one of the most toxic things ever to cut off your friends just because they're not successful, right? And it's like, it's not about keeping someone in your life if they're criticizing you or they're dragging you down like that, or if they can't, like, if they're not going to level up their mentality. Like,
envy is a different thing. There's friends that don't make money, and you can tell they're envious. You gotta cut them.
Unfortunately, guys, and that's
inevitable.
A little tip, unfortunately, like you can't make someone not insecure about you. Like there's nothing you can ever do to make someone not insecure about you because that's within them. So, unfortunately, that's the truth. But I'm curious, bro, because I was talking to Marshall actually about this last night. Marshall Cruz, by the way, guys, he's one of my mentors for my clothing company. He's helping me out with like the creative side of that part. But I'm curious what you think about the pedestal that a lot of social media content creators. Where are we at for time? I'm just curious. 56. I'm curious what your opinion is, because I talked about this before and with Pablo, and we believe that while technological advances, keep coming forth, right? AI, whatever, while that increases, I also believe it's almost like a seesaw where there's going to be a deep desire for deeper human connection. And also with content creators, I've found that one of the, this is literally what made me money. By the way, tap in, take some notes. This is what made me money. I saw a huge gap in the industry 3 years ago. I said, wow, like these kids like worship these fitness influencers. They put them on a pedestal, right? The content creators create distance between themselves and their followers. They do this because they try to be too refined and too perfect, right? They try to uphold an image.
Like, I took a break. I was
uphold an image of perfection, right? Which is not true. Like perfection is not the truth, right? Imperfection is more reality, right? Where it's like you can't always be super polished. And I talked to Pablo about this, and I talked to Marshall about this, and he was saying, he's like, hey, this is why I smoke cigarettes in my content. He's like, this is why I'm talking about how I woke up late today. Right. This is why and again, transparently, you guys know I've smoked joints on fucking my YouTube before. And it's like, it's not that I'm trying to encourage anyone to do things, but I want to encourage authenticity. Right. So like, I realized 3 years ago, I'm like, I can't create a distance between these. Like if I create distance between these people, it doesn't make them respect me like as much as it would if I connect with them. Mm-hmm. Right. Because you don't want people to feel like you're so other and you're so far away and you're a different person. That's why I'm always telling people I'm just like you. It's
so funny you say that, bro.
Yeah.
Like, that's exactly what I've been. Bro, people ask me to this day, they're like, bro, I post with guns. Like I'll post on my Instagram straight like AKs and ARs and Glocks and and I'll post myself smoking weed.
Yeah.
And I'll feel ashamed about it. I used to feel ashamed about it. Right? I'd feel like I'd watch these like, and especially now that I've gone to the coaching space, I see these coaches that dominate the game. You know what I'm saying? They're the top of the game, and they preach this perfect lifestyle. About showing up constantly.
Some of these coaches that preach this perfect lifestyle, I've gotten fucking wasted with them, by the way.
Yeah.
At the club, right? So it's like,
I mean, I've seen them abuse fucking steroids. I've seen them fucking cheat on their girlfriends. Like these people that just claim this fucking whole like perfect life of being someone who never has explored vices and never, et cetera. I feel like generally you couldn't be more of a at the time, you seem like you're being a beacon of light.
Yeah.
You know, you seem like it's like this hazy kind of view from far away, like on social media, like, oh my God, like he's doing it perfect, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, you know what I'm saying? Like there's always going to be something to somebody.
Yeah.
Right? There's always going to be something to somebody. There's always a trade-off. You can never have the good without the bad. Right? You can never have the good without the bad. You can never have something without the other. So if you seem like your life is perfect, you're lying.
Yeah.
Straight up, you're lying.
Yeah.
You know, you're lying. And I also feel like too, like there's flaws in everything we do.
100%.
I feel like all the time, like I judge people.
100%.
I judge people all the time.
Yeah.
I take a look at them and I count them out.
Yeah.
I've done it a million times. And I'll be honest. I've done it a million times. And I try to check myself as much as I go along the way of doing it, you know? But at the same time, like we're all flawed in so many ways, and there's never going to be a chance that one of us is perfect, right?
Yeah.
And these people that portray this stuff online and share this and share that and ask, the criticism is crazy.
Insane.
You know, the criticism I get on my posts, et cetera, is insane. Whether I talk about business, whether I talk about tattoos, whether I don't talk, whether I do talk, whether I show myself off, and these, you know what I'm saying, these other people in the industry that hate me, you know, they post content.
Yeah.
It's just a different kind of content.
Yeah.
But they're like, I'd never post that gay shit. And I'm like, bro, you're posting skits.
Yeah.
You do skits to get clients.
Yeah.
Like you are the definition of fucking gay in my opinion, but whatever. Like, you know what I'm saying? But like, we all have our opinions, right? And I feel like it's so crazy to look at somebody else and discredit them. But at the same time, bro, I know how the game goes, right?
Yeah.
You could hate my guts. You could talk shit about me online. And if one day we came face to face and you really talk to me with some respect, we could have a conversation.
100%.
You know what I'm saying?
100%.
Like obviously you came in my face and said some disrespectful ass shit.
Yeah.
I'll smack you before the words come out of your mouth.
Yeah.
But
I've seen it.
but you know what I'm saying? Like
I've seen it.
I like to know that I could swallow my pride and have a conversation with you, even if we had our differences.
Yeah. 100%.
You know? And I think that one of the most important parts about being authentic online is unapologetically being yourself.
Yeah.
Right? Unapologetically being yourself, showing the good days, showing the bad days. I'm not going to show you, you know, I tell people this all the time, especially in my mentorship and my coaching calls, bro. I post the good days and the bad days. I post the days when I'm pissed the fuck off.
Yeah.
When I might look back, I might smoke a joint the next day, look back on that video, look back on that reel and be like, dude, you were being a fucking raging dickhead that day.
Yeah.
And I won't delete it.
Yeah.
I won't archive it. I won't delete it. I won't step back on my word.
Yeah.
That was what I was going through that day. That's how I felt. I've built this. I've built that. I'm not perfect.
Yeah.
God will forgive me.
Yeah.
And I go to sleep at night knowing that I expressed myself in every way I thought I could.
Yeah.
And I never try to portray something that I wasn't. If you met me in person, you'd never be like, oh, he ain't practicing what he preaches.
Yeah.
But I've met dudes that do $2 million a month that seem like their life's perfect and fucking they don't practice what they preach, dog.
No. And that's I think that's the reason we're saying this, guys, by the way, is like
maybe we will suffer from it.
Yeah.
Maybe we will. Maybe we won't get to $2 million a month. Maybe we'll suffer from it.
And but I would never trade. And a lot of these guys that, you know, I have, you know, we're not going to say names because why give them airtime, but like, exactly. It's like, I would not trade their money. I would not trade my life for theirs. Like, if you think about that and you just ask yourself these types of questions, would you actually trade your life for theirs? No. There's some of these people, I'm like, I think about it. I go, well, the money's nice, but who's the person? Well, would I want to trade places with him? Well, of course not.
Yeah.
So to say that that the money is just a part of it. It's cool. It's admirable. But here's the thing, guys. By the way, I'm going to be honest with you guys. And I read this in a book called The Psychology of Money. And this is based off of like, you know, studying human behavior. When people, like, let's say you buy a car, right? And you want to buy the car because you want to impress other people. So you buy a car.
I've done it
in an effort to impress other people. And we've all done things like that. Of course, that's human. It's human nature. By the way, guys, you're not wrong or bad if you've done this, but just hear me out. We buy the car because we think we're going to impress other people. And then we feel validated because we get positive reinforcement from other people. We get compliments. We say, dude, that's a really cool car. Like, bro, that's awesome, right? We get love. But you have to understand that and this isn't because people, there's no ill will involved in this, right? But people are only saying that because they imagine themselves with the car. So they may think you're cool, but that's like secondary, very secondary to them imagining themselves and what it would feel like for them to have the thing, right? So a lot of people
so underestimated the selfishness of
people are selfish. It's not that it's bad. It's just that that's normally how people are.
Survival.
100%.
Human nature. Like
but here's this is why we're talking about this. Like, this is why we want to say this to you guys, is because, like, let's say you do admire the car or whatever. Like, just look at the person's character, because it's likely that if you look at the person's character, right, you can actually emulate something that is real that you can take with you for the rest of your life, right? And transparently, even with these guys that are like, you know, these 500,000, 2 million a month guys, it's like there's still bits and pieces that I learned from them, and then everything else I just throw it out. I'm like, I'm not using that. I'm not using that. I'm not using that. That's pretty good. I'll kind of use this and then throw everything else out. Like, that's the only way to be. And that's because if you're thinking anything else, because then you don't create your own thing. Yeah. You know, when you're always like consuming other people's thought processes and how they think, and even guys, transparently, like, do I want you to understand the things I'm saying? Do I want you guys to be on the same page as me? Yeah, of course. But I also understand that that's not always going to happen. And I would rather have you disagree with me if it's being authentic to yourself than agree with me and lie to yourself, right? Because authenticity is one of my highest values, right? Is always being real and genuine. So I don't know. I think that the reason I'm saying this is because there's a massive opportunity for people that want to be in the position that we're in. Like, we're literally telling you guys transparently, like, no, like, the real win and the real fulfillment or success, whatever you want to call it, comes from when you separate yourself from these old age fucking like sayings and that this rhetoric of like, people that have money are selfish and that they don't want to help people and that you can't learn from anyone that doesn't make more money than you and all this stuff, but it's bullshit, right? And even with the social media stuff, guys, like, don't you want to watch someone's content and feel like you can fucking do anything? I don't want to watch someone's content and be like, damn, my goal is so far away. I want to watch someone's content where they talk to me and tell me you can fucking do it too. You know? Like, that's the key.
Yeah. And I mean, I think it's one of those things too where it's like, you know how you guys sit at home and you see like people like me and Gabe on Instagram, and you're probably like, you think that we're like so much more like fulfilled, but I'm not. I'm always searching for another answer.
Yeah.
I'm always wondering what's missing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm always curious if your life is better than mine.
Yeah.
You know, I'm always curious if I should have chosen the route of going to college, and I should have chosen the route of maybe fucking taking less risks. I should have chosen the route of, I think about this, you know, and I'm not even saying this in a way that like is like a I don't think I'm better than you. You know what I'm saying? Like, I literally genuinely don't sleep at night sometimes wondering maybe I should have fucking not taken that sales call and taken my ex on more dates. You know, I should have been there for her more. You know, she probably needed me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think about that stuff all the time. It keeps me awake at night.
Yeah.
So don't look at social media and think, hey man, this is great. You know, he's driving a fucking Ferrari and shit's fucking sweet. Cause at the same time, bro, those people have those same thoughts about you.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
we're all just in this fucked up game called life. You know what I'm saying? Straight up. I can't sugarcoat it. You know, I really can't sugarcoat it. And I think that will help you the most in business. You know, just being real with yourself. Just be real with yourself about the situation, that whether you do it, whether you don't, there's gonna come a day where you'll get something out of it. You'll get a little bit of peace of mind that was worth more than all the checks. It was worth more than all the follows on Instagram. It was just like a little bit of peace of mind. You know, that like one part of you at one point was like, I can do this. I should dedicate myself to this. Whether I see results or I don't, at least I'll fall asleep at night knowing I did it. There's just a little bit of peace of mind that comes to you through things that you might feel at $4,000 a month. You know, you might feel something from the little bit of knowledge that you got, you know, like, and it wasn't even money equated. I feel like people equate money to so much stuff.
Yeah.
Whether it's fulfillment, happiness, etc., whatever. Like, I don't want to make it too general, but
Yeah.
there's just gonna come a day where fucking something's just gonna click, you know, and I'll never look at somebody who didn't make a certain amount of money, etc., and think that like they're less than me.
Yeah.
You know, even though it might come off certain ways in content, or I might say like, oh, you gave up on this or you gave up on that. I might point fingers, you know, I might say this or say that, but at the end of the day, dude, like there's just gonna come a day where it's only you and you.
Yeah.
You know, it's you and God. And then there's just a fulfillment that you feel that maybe would have happened and maybe would have not, but either way it's okay.
Yeah.
You know? Like when we die, to be as corny as it sounds, like it's okay.
Yeah.
Everything was okay. You know what I'm saying?
Chill.
Like I think it's important to say that.
Yeah.
You know, like whether you fucking blow the fuck up or you fucking don't, or you fucking dive all in, or you fucking live the normal life, there's gonna come a day, bro, where the only thing we really worried about was like, when was the last time we saw our brother or sister or some shit? You know, like, so
Yeah.
that shit like literally makes me want to cry. You know, like it really makes me think. Like, I think that's something that social media people don't ever fucking think about, or they don't ever touch on, or some shit. You know, I think that the most important thing we can do is just be real with you guys, and I think that finding a coach too, you could find a coach, not make money, and learn the biggest lesson of your life.
Yeah.
You know, like I genuinely believe in that. So I think that all you guys should think a little bit different about what decisions you're making, because you might make the decision to go all in. You might make the decision to buy a program. You might make the decision to work 12 hours a day. It could work out. It could not.
Yeah.
It could work out. It could not.
Yeah.
You could do it every day for the rest of your life, and you can never have anything to show for it.
Yeah.
But someday you'll have a little bit of peace of mind.
Yeah. Peace of mind is invaluable. 100%. It's there's no amount of money that's, you know, worth that peace of mind, dude. Well, bro, I think that's a good spot to end it right there. That was some fire. That was a fire monologue right there, dude.
Bro.
We'll throw a couple reels up there.
Yeah,
a couple clips of that, dude. That was some fire.
That Andrew Tate sound over that. Now put a clip of me fucking montaging in the Lambo.
That was some fucking that was some I studied, bro. No, but serious. Anyway, guys, on that note, where can they find you on social media, brother?
I am at Raphael Tats, RafaelTats, across all social media platforms, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, all of that. And yeah, man, I think that the most important thing that any of you guys can do is just make sure you're going to sleep good at night. Yeah,
absolutely. Love that, man. And if someone wants to get a tattoo from you,
754-707-2888.
And then they can get tattooed from anyone on the team too.
Dude, whether you got a budget of $200 or $2,000, whether you want to get a color tattoo, a Japanese tattoo, or a black and gray tattoo, or a minimal fine line tattoo, you want to get it tomorrow, you want to get it next year, hit me up. I got everything you need.
Love it.
I'm the fucking dope man.
I love that. And then one last thing too, bro. If they want to learn how to do what you do, or learn the skills that you learn, how can they get in contact with you, and what's the process like of that? Like, what does that look like?
So if you want to go ahead and learn what I do, the main thing I would tell you to do is go ahead and follow me on Instagram. Check out my YouTube channel. I have a lot of free game going on there, and I really want you guys to have a good understanding of what I do. I just work with people one-on-one, help them build their personal brand, and show you guys how I scale to 100K plus a month, you know, through social media, through offering an in-person service, and then building a team on top of that. I think that everybody should have the fair, equal chance to see success in their life. So
love it. Awesome. Well, dude, I appreciate having stopping onto the podcast.
One thing before I go too.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna use this as a little testimonial moment. Gabe put me on. I was doing phenomenal inside of my tattoo business.
Yes.
Making 60, 70K a month just through tattooing purely itself. Constantly trading my hours for a dollar amount. And Gabe put me on to the online coaching business. I told him I wanted to do it. I told him I wanted to do it right. There's one thing that I go into. There's businesses that I've thought about going into that I've completely halted because I knew that I wouldn't be able to give it my full focus.
Yeah.
And coaching was one of the things that I knew required my full focus, and I knew I was ready to do. When I was finally ready to do it, I went to Gabe. He gave me the blueprint. and the rest is history. I've done well over $250,000 in sales in just 3 months.
Yeah.
So
now, of course, you know, you guys know he has a big brand. You know, I won't take away from myself because obviously we did, you know, helped you with the sales side of things a little bit. Raphael was doing a low ticket offer before. And actually when I saw that, I was thinking, I'm like, well, that's great, but there's so much more value that you can give. And yeah, the rest is history. That's super awesome. And transparently also, Raphael has helped me a ton with my social media too. My monthly views literally doubled, like, you know, less than 4 million to up to, you know, 9 million, you know, a month. So, and this is the kind of relationship that you want to have, right? It's like, you're not rarely going to find this in Miami, guys, but when you do find a relationship where there's no animosity, it's just game. Like, you genuinely care about the other person's success. Like, that's really who you want to surround yourself with. On that note, guys, appreciate you watching, hanging out. No Victim Podcast, episode 15 with Raphael Tats. Peace out.
this was a banger, guys. You got to pay for this one. I
Paywall.
Charge, did we kill it?
Look at Charlie. He's like taking a nap.
I think we killed it.